Okay, so just a few closing remarks before we break for lunch. Barring the last statement about of nuclear risks, I think there's a few key points from this morning that we all should be taking away. We've had a good baseline set for us in terms of the lenses which we should be asking questions about these issues, both contemporary issues as well as historic issues. And we've had several witness accounts of the trauma and the hard work that goes into protecting, preserving, and recovering lost collections. But perhaps the most important point made both by Tatiana and Jason is that no book, no collection is worth a human life. There's lessons that we certainly have been given as well, and I think perhaps starting with the lenses of what is just and what is unjust, where there are ambiguities and nuances that are often where we get stuck in as professionals, and where we need to keep in mind the interesting dichotomy of moral strength and due diligence. But perhaps the most jarring lens was certainly the several, in fact, all presentations touched on the act of erasure and dehumanization that comes with the territory that we're dealing with today. I think it became very clear from all of our presentations that the mission of a library can outlast conflict, and indeed can outlast the physical building that a librarian may occupy with their collections, but not without trauma. And today we've heard this morning, we'll hear this afternoon more about trauma. And what's interesting for us as professionals, as collections professionals, is that the collections in our care individual objects, they move through time and space, and they bear witness to both peaceful contemplation, to complete disregard, to extreme trauma. And it's through these individual pieces, and I think it's quite poignant that this picture is here, that through the bits of evidence that we pick up with our collections individually or more broadly, that trauma can be revisited and sometimes cauterized. I think also perseverance is the other key point for me this morning. We, especially from the presentation from Tatiana and also from Jason, perseverance in the face of conflict, but also what that means for people and for the collections in their care, that conflict has long-term effect on collections as it does people. The longue durée of preservation following conflict. We talked a lot about books that were lost, but the books that were damaged, and the legacy of having to try and recover the books that have been damaged, or to make sense of what happened to these as generations pass on. And that these collections, they last beyond individual generations, and they carry forward the voices of the past. The work that goes into recovering intellectual work, and probably most importantly today, the recovery of identity and the perseverance of identity through the work that we do as heritage professionals and collections. I think all this has come together quite nicely this morning, and I'm looking forward to this afternoon as well. But I think now we're going to take a much-deserved break. Peter has programmed for us a very healthy 90 minutes for our lunch break today. So I'd like to thank everybody here for your participation, all of our speakers especially, and for all of those who have asked questions and been engaged both here and online. This afternoon, for those who are joining online, it'll be the same Zoom link, and we'll just make sure that that's dropped into the chat window as well. Thank you. So for those joining us back online, we will reconvene at 1:30 local time. Is that correct, Peter? Very good. So thanks again to everybody, and we will see you after lunch. Thank you.